So as we were organizing and developing the Teaching Early Literacy from a Multilingual Perspective course, let's think back. What were some of those issues or challenges we were trying to address? What were we really trying to improve when it comes to literacy instruction?
Well, we looked at this as a real opportunity in our school district. As you know, several years ago, there was so much national discussion and local discussion that was playing out in our school district around teaching literacy, but it tended to be one side or the other. And as a school district, we then realized we really needed to ground ourselves in a research-based model. So that was what it started with this looking for and finding the 5+2 pillars. And even though those first 5 pillars, phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension, had been around for quite a while and proven by research, it was the addition of the oracy and language that made it complete for us, because we didn't want to neglect what we had learned, from previous work, but really wanted a way into this new model.
So another thing that we thought about as we were developing this course was really thinking around developing a deep professional learning. So we wanted to really create a course that was really keeping and centering our multilingual learners in the center as when teachers were teaching literacy. One thing that's unique about this endeavor is that it was really done in partnership and collaboration. So let's think back to sort of how this all started. How did we decide to do this work together? And then how did we seek input from different people?
Well, actually, the work got started before we were even talking about this course or talking about literacy. Got to know you, Amanda, from Oregon State University, in you wanting to do a research project with our ELD teachers. And in looking at that, the thing that just started us thinking as a school district and me about this was we talk in education all the time about bringing research and practice together, but we don't carry that out very often. We have professional learning that's often grounded in principles that people agree with. It's new information. They leave very satisfied. But then what do we actually do? What does it look like? So part of this is we started this tradition with Oregon State University in looking at these first examples and then in seeing how satisfying it was to the teachers who participated, that it gave them this sense of efficacy about their own practice that can be missing in looking at teaching literacy or in working with something as abstract as the integrated ELD. We think part of my role is to think about professional learning all the time, but one thing in actually doing this course together, we met weekly the first time the course was taught to design the lessons, and really rarely do you sit down and look at what you're going to bring forward in such detail. And it allowed us to set up a structure for the course that then could be adjusted in subsequent times that it was taught, because we got the feedback. There would be the looking at how are participants experiencing this course, even as it moved from module to module.
And I think we were so fortunate to be able to have some grant funding through the Accelerated Learning K-8 project that let us take this statewide. Because we're able to offer the course online, we were able to really expand the reach, and the grant funding itself let us provide learning for, I think, 90 plus teachers just through that grant. And then we were able to, as you said, produce this course so thoughtfully that's let it continue to live and continue to be offered, and now approved through ODE. And it's just, I think, a way in which we've been able to create a sustainable model thanks to initial grant funding, but one that really allows us to, as you said, Barb, keep research and practice in constant conversation. And as we change and improve the course every single time we teach it.
One of the reasons we started the class was because we wanted to give teachers resources that they could use. We wanted to bring forward recent research on multilingualism and instructional practices that they could use the next day. And in the example that we saw in our classroom today, the teacher was able to use slideshow that was provided by the company. However, we were able to adopt several instructional practices to help modify that lesson to be able to be beneficial for all learners.
The lens I brought into the work was a little bit more around our dual language practices and the biliteracy model, and how our students at the very beginning of their learning bilingual journeys really start acquiring language, and how they really are becoming biliterate starting in kindergarten. So my lens was kind of a little different, and kind of the language specialist, the literacy specialist, and I was the dual language specialist kind of. And because all of us work together in all of the buildings, it just felt that what we all brought forward was very unique, but also it actually made a professional learning for the three of us we got together to really talk about the learning, and we're able to really provide the research. And
I was so fortunate to be a part of the collaboration. And one of the things that made that collaboration so rich was our partnership with OSU University, with Amanda Kibler and Martha Sandstead, a postdoc. And it was wonderful to be able to have the focus of the class to widen the circle, so that we brought in that research lens as well as the practical implications in the classroom.
So as we were developing the course, and even now after we've taught it many times, I just think about those really key elements that we were emphasizing, and why we thought this was such an important course for every K-5 teacher in Oregon. And I think, obviously we have a large and growing multilingual population that we serve, and I think the ways in which we see professional development and curriculum tending to consider multilingual learners as an afterthought, a call-out box, a sidebar, rather than centering them entirely. And I think our program is actually unique among other early literacy grant approved providers, in that we are centering multilingual learners, and seeing that as we've talked about, a multilingual perspective benefits every child in the classroom. And we also are able to serve, because of our online format, teachers from all over the state. They may be the only one in their school, or the only one in their district who wants to take it. Or maybe they have a smaller group of just a grade level team they want to work with. And we've been able to accommodate all of those different types of individuals and groups and cohorts, and really bring them together in a meaningful way. And I think it's exciting to think about where we will go from here as we continue to develop the course, and new work and new research and new pedagogies come out, and we're constantly adapting our course for that work and for our new audiences.